What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls coming up for y'all right around the corner. On today's show, an interesting trade proposal from Bleacher Report that would send Ayo Dosunmu to the Nuggets and a three-team trade, bringing back some interesting young pieces to the Bulls. Plus, what are our goals for Ayo Dosunmu coming into his expiring season on his 3-year contract? And will he be the most talked about potential trade candidate on this Bulls team this season? Next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That is Big Dave. Bam! Bam! BWL Sports. Bam. Will, the Go Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed. Will_Gottlieb, and Queen of the Controls, the one and only Katie W. What up, Katie?
Hello.
What? Katie?
The RC Cola hit
Dude,
Matt like a truck.
I am telling you.
Yeah, floating.
I don't typically drink caffeine in the afternoon hours. And if we're in season and we're working nights, then I'll caffeinate myself.
Yes.
But not usually. Whew.
Did you have coffee today?
Oh, yeah, every morning.
3 cups, I know.
3
right?
cups every morning.
And
But then I peter out.
Right.
You have 3 cups of coffee every day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Katie?
Wow.
What do you
He has
have?
3 cups of coffee. I do
Okay.
2 cups of tea.
Yeah, that's about right for you too.
Yes, baby.
You do 2 cups of tea?
With that pinky up.
Not
You better
the
know
British accent.
You
My
better know it.
goodness.
What you do, Goat?
I do 2 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. If there's a game, I will shift that
You're a Celsius
afternoon
boy,
to
aren't
later.
you?
Sometimes, but I definitely am more of a coffee person.
The energy
coffee.
drinks
I
are
love
just
coffee.
getting too strong these days.
They're a little too
Yeah?
much.
Yeah,
Too much?
I feel like Willie Nelson talking about weed, but that's how I feel about energy drinks, you know? The weed's too strong these days.
Too
and
strong,
so are the
yeah.
energy drinks.
Too
I mean,
THC
some of them
in
are
there.
like 200-300 milligrams of caffeine. That's like double or triple
What-
coffee. It's
yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy.
Good to go.
When they brought their own little mini fridge and stocked it for us, and I
Oh,
would
yeah.
occasionally crack one if I was,
C4.
lagging on a game night. I would have three sips, and my brain would start bouncing off the inside
Yeah,
of my
man.
skull.
That C4 had you ready.
Do you guys experience this? Energy drinks don't wake me up. They just make my heart beat really fast. So
Yes.
I'm exhausted,
Yeah.
but I'm having a heart attack. It's really not good.
Yeah, it's unhealthy.
Shout out to
It
Fish for
seems
the
unhealthy.
H2O. You got that
Yeah.
right, sir. I just got a new filter that I've stepped up my water level. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's called a Hydro V. And it's a filter that is specifically designed for the area that you live in. So whatever impurities are in your water for that area, this filter will filter it out.
It's terrifying to hear Dave say I've stepped up my water level, because when we were in Vegas, he asked for a pitcher of water. The restaurant said we don't have pitchers, and then he drank so much water in like a 10-minute period that they found a pitcher for him.
I
So
tried
if
to
you're
tell him.
stepping that up even more,
Can't
that's
Stepping
crazy.
it up, baby. I'm so excited. I am too excited. I can't wait to hook this
So
thing
I
up.
assume this is a new fancy filter that belongs in your domain, in your household.
Yes.
When do you bring your own fancy water filter to the office like you have your own child?
I mean, I have my own. I have a portable bottle I take when I go to Vegas with me and stuff. Like, it's a filtered water bottle. It's like 32 ounces, and it's a filtered water bottle. Shout out to Britta for that one. But yeah, I always keep a filter near, man. You got to have one, baby. But for this, it's okay. Like, I'll put the regular water, you know what I'm saying, in my child and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying, like that. It does its job very well.
Let's say you were in a situation where, God forbid, something terrible was going to happen to either the water filter or the child. Who would you save?
Oh, the child.
The child.
Without a doubt.
Go
The water,
bring in the heat.
The water filter can always be replaced. You can't. It's hard to replace your child like
That's
that.
true. That's
It'll always be replaced. You will absolutely be
I
safe.
had a feeling that was what you were going to say, but I just wanted to know.
Yeah, man.
Just wanted to be
absolutely.
sure.
You can replace them water filters, baby. You can get them on deck.
Okay, speaking
Hydro V, let's go.
Speaking of Dave saying he drinks 2 cups of tea in the morning, I just saw Katie put up a poll. What the hell does clocking the tea mean?
Let the people answer the poll before we explain
Everybody
it.
vote in the poll.
And,
I voted no.
Hit the like button.
What the heck
first,
does
though.
this mean?
It's
Shout
funny
out to
'cause-
Paul, Fish, Rob,
Oh.
Nick P, everybody hanging out with us in the chat. Colin, Samity.
Samity.
Hey.
Samity, Yamity.
Hubla, 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 hubla,
Shout
hubla.
out to you, sir.
RC Cola.
Yeah,
Dude,
the thirst.
jacked.
What up, Easy? Shout out to him. I'm talking
What
to him
up,
earlier.
Ease?
What
All
up,
right,
bro?
guys, let's dive into this. So this was from a couple of days ago. We are nearing the end of the dead zone of the NBA offseason. We're so close, but we're still there where we're getting rankings and trade proposals put out and whatnot. Bleacher Report had a trade proposal the other day. Dan Favale, I believe, is the Bleacher Report. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Sean. Sean Anderson, everybody. Proposing a 3-team trade between the Nuggets, Bulls, and Wizards. We'll get to breaking down all of these pieces because there are a lot of them. But when it comes to the Bulls and what they're giving up, we're talking Ayo Dosunmu. Mm-hmm. And because the Giddey contract is now official, 4 years, 100, the Bulls are investing in him long term. They have said repeatedly, we love Josh and Coby together. We love the way that they played together. Mm-hmm. We want to keep Coby long term. They've also said we love Ayo Dosunmu and we want to keep Ayo Dosunmu. But then the only thing that AK did this summer was what? Re-sign Trey Jones, which has plenty of people, not just in Chicago, but all over the NBA world, thinking logically that Ayo Dosunmu could be a very real trade candidate because he is entering the expiring year of his contract.
Yeah, it's true. It's a thing that could happen. It's a scary thought.
Fan favorite. Bulls fans love Ayo.
Yeah,
myself included.
I make no bones about I want to keep Ayo Dosunmu here in Chicago. I've done a whole segment on this show talking about why I want to keep Ayo Dosunmu here in Chicago for on the court and off the court reasons. I want to keep Ayo Dosunmu here. I understand it's just business, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, and he's got to do what's best for his career, and the Bulls have got to do what's best for them. But I feel like Ayo is one of those players that is best for everybody. So he fits wherever he's going to go. It doesn't matter what team he goes to, he's going to fit. When we talked about this trade, as soon as I saw the team, I immediately like, oh, yeah, he can help this team do this, and this. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just what he does, man. Ayo Dosunmu, you felt his impact when he wasn't here, when he was off the floor last year for the Bulls, man. Like, that defense and that spark he can provide for the Bulls, like, you weren't able to get that stuff. Now, of course, the second half of the season, the Bulls balled out, but I'm sure they could have used him against the Miami Heat. In some kind of capacity, for sure, no doubt about that. Could have used Trey Jones too, but you definitely needed Ayo Dosunmu. But I do think that Trey Jones contract definitely kind of did that because I was a little surprised that they re-signed Trey Jones. Congratulations to him, for being here. It's not that he's not a good player and didn't showcase his talents for sure, but it's just that I thought that Ayo Dosunmu had that position, and it was like, we're going to roll with Ayo, but it just, it raises more questions for me because that 1 year left, knowing how every team is flirting with Ayo Dosunmu or flirting with the Bulls for Ayo Dosunmu, just raises more questions for you, man.
Yeah, I think they should hang on to Ayo.
Yes.
I just don't see why. I don't see the urgency to get off of him. Like, I don't see a deal out there where it's like you're really getting a lot more upside long term. I mean, unless you're like packaging him with like Patrick to get off of him, or like combine those two to get another player, or like you can get like a lottery first. I don't see the value there. I mean, he's one of the few, if not the only, real two-way players on the team. Somebody who's really good defensively, getting over screens, guarding at the point of attack, but also can get the ball up the court and create his own offense. Also can play off the ball. His versatility, I think, really allows the Bulls to play a lot of different styles and play multiple guard lineups, which is something that Billy Donovan has really gone to a lot over the last few years. So for me, I just, there doesn't seem to be a real incentive. I'm not saying like keep Ayo forever just because like he's from Chicago and he's a good character guy, even though I think those are true.
Yeah.
I don't really look at it that way. I just don't really see a deal out there where it's like you're getting so much value that it makes more sense to trade him than to keep him. So for me, I would try to retain him. I don't think it's going to be like a massive deal. I think it'll probably be like $20 million or less for a 28-minute per game player who is valuable on both ends and like a core piece for you. I'm fine with keeping that. And as we talked about yesterday, I think it's within the salary cap structure to retain him, Coby, and Giddey and still bring in more talent. So I would not be in any rush to get rid of him. I think he continues to improve. Yes, last year was a bit of a down year. He had the shoulder injury. I expect him to come back and be better because that's what he's always done.
Yeah, very true.
All right, so let's take a look at the pieces of this trade, and we can continue to discuss it. 3-team trade again. the Bulls, Nuggets, and Wizards. In this trade, the
Great
Nuggets
graphic.
receive Justin Champagnie from Washington
He's good.
and Ayo Dosunmu. The Bulls receive Zeke Naji and Peyton Watson, along with a 26 second-round pick, the least favorable of which between either Dallas, OKC, Philly, and that would be coming from the Washington Wizards. The Bulls would also receive a 2028 first-round pick swap, top 10 protected, from Denver. And the Wizards get Denver's 2032 unprotected second-round pick. So Wizards essentially, to just kind of take care of that equation quickly, they Favali wrote that they basically just don't have room for Champagnie in their rotation with all of the young talent on that roster right now, and that they can move that by swapping a so-so sooner second-round pick for one from Denver that's further down the road, basically shorting the Denver Nuggets timeline of still being good in 2032, and maybe a second-round pick that's somewhere 40 to 50.
Right.
If you're not really going to find a spot in your actual rotation for this young player anyway, you're not losing much there. You're not sacrificing much. From that perspective, it makes sense. When Favali made the argument for why the Nuggets do this, I think Bulls fans who know what Ayo could do would agree, and it's clear to see. He said, Ayo's not a conventional floor general, but he's known to show glimmers of improved playmaking coming around screens, and he knows how to facilitate when attacking downhill. And check out this stat that Dan pulled. Peyton Pritchard and Tyrese Halliburton were the only players last season to match Ayo Dosunmu's scoring efficiency of 57.1% and assist rate, 12.4%, on drives while finishing at least as many of them, 371. Also noting that Ayo's ability to guard up, a.k.a. guard larger wings and small forwards and even some power forwards, would permit him to play on the floor at the same time as Jamal Murray and kind of hide some of Jamal Murray's defensive liabilities. From the Nuggets' perspective, I love this deal.
Yeah, and I, again, agree. Like, he's a good player. He could help them. I think he fits in well with what they do. I think you'd get a huge boost from playing alongside Nikola Jokic, as most players do. But, like, for me, if you're the Bulls, like, I just don't know that there's very much value in doing this. It's kind of like a trade idea just for the sake of having a trade idea. So for me, like, I saw this initially and I was like, ooh, a first-round pick. Like, that could be pretty juicy. I really like Peyton Watson as a player. But the more I thought about it, like, I mean, you're talking about a pick swap in 2028. Like, what are the odds that the Nuggets are going to be worse than the Bulls in 2028 to where
I'd say slim to none.
They improve the value of their own pick? I would agree with that. Slim to none. The Nuggets are a really good team. Jokic, age 30 season, come out. Like, he may not play forever, but, like, he's still going to be really good in 2-3 years if he does keep playing. And, they are just a really good core that I don't think is really going to go anywhere. You have Cam Johnson now in the mix, Jamal Murray, like, all these guys are like late 20s, early 30s. And I just think they're going to be a really competitive team for the next couple of years. And they've also shown a willingness to move assets to continue to be good. And so for me, I don't really think that the first round pick swap is very much value. So you're taking on Zeke Naji's bad contract, which is 3 years, $8 million per he's basically, maybe there's some flashes there. Maybe he could be like a backup center, but for the most part, like, he's dead money. And Peyton Watson I really like, but you kind of have some similar players, Modest and Noah, both fours, both shot blockers, both sort of athletes, not really like interior players, but guys that can provide some athleticism, rim protection, and shooting. So I just don't really know where he would slot in alongside some of the Bulls' core pieces. And then, yeah, you're losing out on one of your only real perimeter defenders. I mean, you mentioned he can guard up. He's also really good at guarding down and being the point of attack defender. And that's something the Bulls really need. If you've got Coby and Giddey out there, they need someone to stop the ball. And so I don't think it's like horrible value. I think, like, theoretically the Bulls should be taking swings on those kind of draft pick swaps or those kind of young players. But Peyton Watson's coming up on a contract too. You've got, money in Zeke Naji that you've now stuck with. I don't really know that this, like, helps the Bulls in any meaningful way.
Well, real quick, just because you asked a question about Denver
and
how it helps them, like, immediately I'm like, well, you got the perfect backup for Jamal Murray also, because he's not a guy that, has been non-injury proof. He gets hurt. And Ayo being at the point guard position doesn't really have to be the point guard because your point guard is Nikola Jokic. So he still will be able to do Ayo Dosunmu stuff.
Let's take our first break right there. When we come back on the other side, we'll continue this conversation and get to some of y'all's thoughts in the chat about this trade proposal from BR that would send Ayo to the Nuggets. Hit the like while you're throwing your opinion in that chat. You're there anyway. Here's some ads.
Katie will get you.
Get 'em. RC.
She'll get you.
Today's show brought to you by Circa Sportsbook. Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports is sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service featuring, that's right, real human beings with beating hearts. I was talking to a human online earlier today, customer service style, and it was online, but at least it was a human on the other end.
Sure was.
And not a robot.
Good.
That's what you get when you need customer support from Circa. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, even in-game betting, Circa Sports has it for you. So fun to bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in the great state of Illinois. What are you waiting for? Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 and older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You know what? The only time I'm going to get violent is when I see that you're thirsty. Because I'm going to punch you right in the dang on thirst.
Yeah!
And I'm going to do it with the official drink of Chicago, RC Cola. Oh, watch him take that sip and take a trip down memory lane.
Oh, it's so good.
Delicious.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, down the gullet is where it goes because it's RC Cola, the original cola that does not fold under pressure. There are no trends. There are no gimmicks. There are no woozies. And for the love of the quaff, there are no wazies at all, ladies and gentlemen. RC hasn't changed its stripes since 1905. Why? Because it didn't need to. It's the same bold, crisp flavor that it has always been. So why don't you go ahead, put your head up a little bit, and let somebody punch you right in the thirst with some RC Cola. Do yourself a favor and pick up some RC from your local store. Stock up on all your end of summer parties, back to school celebrations, or just chilling and watching the game. RC is the move for whatever you're doing. RC Cola, the taste of Chicago.
We roll along here, CHGO Bulls, live from our studio on Thursday afternoon. Let's take the temp, shall we? Taking the temp is brought to you by our trusted friends and experts at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Let's take the temp of our chat on this Ayo trade proposal. We got a lot of people who are not a fan of giving up Ayo Dosunmu. Colin calling, saying I want Ayo to be a Bulls lifer. Rob saying no to that trade. Matty Legend saying he's the heart of the team. Paul Sorensen, business includes the product, and Ayo is a great part of the product that makes fans love the Bulls. Very astute point there,
well done,
Mr. Paul. Nick P saying Ayo's the perfect third guard / de facto small forward for this squad. They can afford to retain him and Coby and still make marked roster upgrades next summer. No need to move him at all. Fish saying free Ayo. Nick also pointing out that the draft comp the Bulls get in this trade proposal from Bleacher Report is essentially useless, making note of what you did go with the whole pick swap with the Nuggets in 28. Like, are you really anticipating that swap would be a useful swap that the Bulls would hit the green light on, meaning that they were drafting lower than the Nuggets 3 years from now?
Yeah, I feel like this kind of trade in some ways is like, if you're going to strip it down, like get some upside swings, get some shots in the dark on draft picks. And like, I do like Peyton Watson. I think he's a good player.
For sure. I think he's the highlight of this trade package coming back the Bulls' direction.
For sure. And like the optics of a first round pick,
Amazing
which, as we talked about, I don't think is really that valuable.
Well, and somebody pointed out in our comments, AK doesn't care about anyway.
Exactly where I was heading with this, which is that he also wants to try to win. And like Ayo helps you do that. So to me, Ayo is the kind of player that, you know, you can have around during these sort of times where you're trying to find your way through the middle, because he's like, you know, a good figurehead for the team. He's like a Chicago guy. He's a good leader, all this stuff. But he's also a guy that like scales well. When you talk about, you know, ultimately trying to compete at a high level, you want somebody like Ayo coming off your bench. Yeah. You want somebody like Ayo who can step into a starting role if he needs to, or if there's an injury, or if you just want a different look in there. I just think he gives you a lot of different versatility, and I just wouldn't be looking to trade him unless, one, you get like an incredible deal for him in the form of picks or players, which I don't necessarily foresee because I think a lot of the teams that would want him are like teams that want to compete and add real good contributors on like cheap contracts. So they're not going to be really giving you that stuff, that much stuff back in return. Or two, like a haul of draft picks that actually have some upside. Like I'm not really interested, and I don't think the Bulls would be interested in late first round picks. We've seen them turn down those kind of offers before for other players. I don't think they're really interested in swaps that aren't going to amount to anything. So it would have to be like a meaningful, valuable pick. And I just don't know that those kind of deals are out there. And so to me, just like don't be in a hurry to move him. If you want to talk about like Coby and maybe there are like multiple picks out there for him, that's like maybe a different question, a different answer, just because like I think you could get a little bit more for him. But as we've talked about before too, like I just don't think that those kind of players are fetching that much on the market right now. So I don't know that you should be in such real urgency to move either of those guys unless you're really worried about them walking for nothing. So you always have to be like considering that context, but just in a vacuum, the player, I just wouldn't be in a rush to get rid of Ayo. I think he's too important to what this team is now and what they can be hopefully down the line.
Yeah, when you talk about that urgency, you mean like before the season kicks off, because both the guys you mentioned have 1 year left.
Or at the deadline.
So at the deadline, you think then you should be looking at that.
Yeah, I mean, you're always in conversations with their agents if you're the front office, and like if they are saying we are not going to resign here, we want different opportunity, we want more money than you're willing to give us, then I think you're in a position where you have to get something for them.
Yeah.
And whether that's waiting and doing a sign and trade, that's always a little bit risky because there will be cap space teams.
Okay.
Or getting ahead of it, moving them at the deadline for the best offer that you can get. Again, I think that's a different story, but just in terms of should you trade these guys, like, or should you keep them? I think my initial thought would be to keep them because I do think that like ideally you are getting that star player in here somehow, and we can spend, all day talking about the different ways that they can do that or missed opportunities and all that. At the end of the day, if you are able to find that guy, somebody like Ayo is just such a perfect complement.
Yes.
As somebody who can defend, get off the ball, create on the ball, play on the bench, play in the starting lineup, play away from the ball. I mean, he just does so many different things. Like that's a winning player. That's the kind of player you want. Any team who's competing at a high level wants in their rotation. And I just wouldn't be giving that away.
Dad in the chat saying, I didn't watch the Bulls for 10 years before Ayo. If he goes, I won't be watching again.
Oh, wow.
I did not know my dad loved Ayo Dosunmu that much.
My dad should be working right now. What's happening?
My dad's not. My dad's retired.
Flex.
And my dad does love Ayo Dosunmu. He loves him some Ayo. He wants to keep him. Samity in the chat saying, Ayo's an AK pick, a close to guaranteed contract extension. That is another thing to consider, I think.
That's a good point.
Like,
that's a very good
AK
point.
extended Patrick Williams.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I think, and like as of right now, if you were to stack most impressive things AK has done in his tenure as the VP of basketball ops with the Bulls, where is drafting Ayo Dosunmu in the second round on that list? Because I think it's
Top
pretty
three?
damn near the top.
Yeah, it's top 3 for sure. That is absolutely a top 3 pick.
That is something that AK would double down on and not feel immediately foolish about doubling down on.
Yeah.
Which I think is not the case for, and maybe AK doesn't regret at all some of his double down decisions.
Well, we would agree with this double down.
This is one I think Bulls fans would agree with. Like, yeah, hey, you nailed it getting Ayo in the second round.
Right.
Steal value.
Yes.
As of right now, you could even make the argument that that's a better draft pick than Modest. Modest fell into their lap as a late lottery pick.
What's this?
Oh my God, hi. So with that being the case, and somebody else pointing out earlier, like, look, they could afford to re-sign Coby and re-sign Ayo, and we were going through your cap projections on our show yesterday, talking about the ramifications of Josh Giddey's money and how that might shift some things. But if there aren't other free agents in 26 and or 27 knocking down the Bulls' door, and trust me, there won't be, then sure, you can pay to keep Coby and you can pay to keep Ayo. I think the reason that people keep talking about Ayo as a trade candidate, whether it was leading up to this past season's trade deadline or a lot this offseason, when people were saying, hearing the name Ayo Dosunmu a lot on these offseason, trade rumor mills, it's because he's a very competent and, multifaceted two-way player
Yeah.
who can come in and immediately be a positive impact player on your team. And, oh, by the way, he's entering the last deal, the last year of a very team-friendly contract.
Yeah.
All of those things lead to people saying, that's a player ripe for the plucking. That's a player ripe to be traded.
Right.
So even if AK and the Bulls say we have no interest in trading Ayo, we want to keep him, we want to pay to keep him,
yeah.
you're going to keep hearing trade rumors about him.
Year after year, he will become more and more valuable to teams because of what he is. I don't ever think those rumors or things like that will ever stop. It's the same way I felt it was with Alex Caruso. Like, from the moment Alex Caruso kind of showcased what he was in that first year, it was the rumors began right after that. And it was about, oh, we see the contract, we see the value. Oh, we see the value that you can bring to a team. Oh, defense, absolutely. Bulls, let's talk. So you're going to hear more and more of this stuff, which Ayo should be very complimented by, because it says a lot about him. It ain't just the money. It ain't just the contract. It's that you are good at your job. And when you're good at your job and these teams know that you can fit in this way, and they know they can fit you in money-wise, they will always be at the door asking, whether you're available or not. That question will continue to be asked to the Chicago Bulls about Ayo Dosunmu. Luckily, Ayo Dosunmu loves playing for the Chicago Bulls. Luckily, he loves being here in Chicago. He's one of the first players that on this team I can remember who is wearing his other teammates' jerseys when he's doing stuff. Like, he's wearing a Coby White jersey, when he's on his Twitch and things like that. Like, everything about him is Chicago. From the high school he went to going to Illinois to coming back and playing for the team, he is realizing the dream of a lot of kids, playing for their hometown squad, man. And he's living it out every single day. And I think that stuff means something to him. And I know for a fact it absolutely means something to the Chicago Bulls. So, but his name will continue to come up. I'm very curious to see what the contract will look like, the one that he will be offered in this kind of instance. But yeah, Ayo Dosunmu, please, I don't want him to ever leave. I want him to stay.
Honestly, when you talk about this, like, there's just so backlogged at the guard position or guard positions. So re-signing Trey Jones, as we mentioned earlier, re-signing Josh Giddey, and very likely re-signing Coby on big money or bigger money, all of those are signs that point to Ayo being the odd man out, so to speak. But it's those four. You got Coby and Josh, Ayo, Trey Jones. Who else is in Billy Donovan's guard rotation? And guess what? Billy's got no problem playing four guards and starting three.
Well, I think like Okoro and Herter are kind of the guys. And then obviously, you're going to have another presumably lottery pick, or at least mid-first round pick this year, coming in with a lot of good guards in this draft. So it is crowded, but with so many guys coming off the books next year, Ayo and Coby included, it's just, you don't make that decision just yet. And I think, as we talked about yesterday, it is possible to bring all those guys back. Colin asked a good question in the comments: is what was his max extension? So basically, what you can do with extensions is 140% of your last year's salary, or if it's below the league average salary, then 140% of that. So I was making, I think like $7.5 this year. And league average salary is just under 14. It's 13.97. So his max extension would be 140% of that 13.97, which is just under $20 million a year. It's like $19.55 million. So I don't even think this is not a situation like Coby, who's also under league average salary, which means his contract max extension would also be just a hair under $20 million per year. I don't think this is the same situation for Ayo, where he's not going to accept the extension because it's not enough compared to what he should make. Like, I think he's probably going to be in the 15-ish million range, maybe closer to that full max extension. But I don't think he's getting $20 million on the open market. So I'm not as worried about losing him. You have to deal with the cap hold, and his cap hold next year is $14.3 million. Do you want to give him the extension, or do you want to use that smaller cap hold so that you can go over it, as we talked about yesterday? There's some different ways that you can manage that, but I'm not worried about losing Ayo in that sense, because I don't think there will be more competitive offers out there, because what the Bulls can offer is still in line with what other teams would. So sure. Just another reason to probably hang on to him.
We got to knock out a couple more ads right now. We will do so quickly, come back on the other side, and dive into the goals that we are setting for Ayo Dosunmu in the upcoming Chicago Bulls season. And in case you didn't see Katie's mention in the chat, hit the like during these ads, or she will tell AK to extend Patrick Williams off of his current extension.
Hit the like button.
That's a real threat.
Yo,
Hit the like. Here's some ads.
damn.
Today's show is brought to you by Eye on the Ball. Hey, coaches, listen up. If you're looking for more athletes to train, Eye on the Ball is where you need to be. It's simple. You create your profile, upload your background check, and boom, you're in. And right now, they're offering a new promo for coaches, free 6 months when you first sign up. That's just $50 a month or $500 for the whole year. Athletes of all ages and all sports can find you directly. And here's the best part. Eye on the Ball doesn't mess with your schedule, doesn't mess with your payments or your business. You are in full control. They just connect you with athletes who are looking for a coach like you. So if you're ready to grow your coaching business and reach more athletes, go check it out right now. EyeOnTheBall.net. That's IEYE on the ball.net. Don't wait. The athletes are already there looking for you.
And big shout out to my man Ray at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake. They are slashing prices on new cars and giving you big savings. When I'm alone, I'm on. Come in today and shop the model year-end sales event and drive home with employee pricing on every new Chevy model. You can get $3,000 to $11,000 off MSRP, or check out the selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for yourself. And as one of the top selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know that you're going to get a great deal. Plus, listen up, Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently. Why? Because the price you see is the price you pay. So don't miss out on that model year-end sales event going on all month long for employee pricing on every new Chevy model. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
And we're back. CHGO Bulls on Thursday afternoon, hanging out here. Peck, Big Dave, Goat, and Katie on the controls. Katie making threats in the chat. Hit the gall darn like button.
It's a thing. She's going to threaten you.
Yeah, that's right.
She's going to come after you.
Katie's going to send AK after you.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine that?
You don't want that.
That just boring monotone voice lurking out from underneath your bed when you're trying to fall asleep.
Yeah, but he's also
There's nothing
like,
creepier than
he's
that.
insanely tall. He's kind of scary looking.
I was just thinking that.
Lanky.
I ran into him physically ran into him once because I was coming out of a door that he was going into, and it was terrifying because he was like twice my height. Like, it's
man.
scary.
Like Slender Man.
Did you tell him that I'm not a big fan of his job performance recently?
This is before I
okay.
started working here. This is before I started
the
working
next time
here.
you run into him,
Well,
you can tell him your friend Matt said, "What the hell are you doing?" All right. So the next thing we want to talk about in this Ayo Dosunmu themed episode today is our goals for Ayo. Prove It season is here. We've done them for Billy Donovan and Josh Giddey thus far. We're going to talk about Ayo's today. And I went and looked at my goals for Ayo that I set at the beginning of last season.
Okay.
And unfortunately, one of the goals I set for him was 75 plus games played, which is basically just asking him to continue to be the Iron Man that he was.
Yes.
Because he played in his first 3 NBA seasons 77, 80, 76.
Wow.
Like, you just see less and less of that these days.
You do.
I mean,
then
he tried to fight through it, but
that's
Yeah.
good. Remember the quintuply dislocated shoulder? Remember
Don't take
that
me
part
back
of
there,
last
Matt.
year's hectic Bulls season timeline?
Don't take me back.
Remember that?
Don't
he,
take me
and he
back.
played with it, and then said after that, like, "Oh yeah, I knew that was the last game I was playing this season because I felt it come out of its socket again."
Ow!
Why?
Ah!
Tanaka, where are you?
Get better. Be better. Just be
So,
better.
That obviously
Oh.
a frustrating end and a shortened season for Ayo. He played just 46, started 26 of those 46 games played. But the good news to lead into our setting goals for Ayo and our prove-its for him this season is that by all reports and accounts, including from Ayo himself, ahead of schedule on his end of season into off-season recovery from the shoulder surgery he got to repair that dislocation. And so much so that it seems like all green lights for Ayo coming into training camp.
Yeah.
So despite the frustrating end to his season and Ayo not being available for the Bulls as they were making their spring run to the three-peat play-in, like, you got to feel good about what we've heard as far as his availability coming into a fresh year.
I mean, you got to feel great about it. Like you said, from what you've heard and what you've seen, just watching his YouTube page, and just seeing, just watching him, do stuff was just very, very exciting to watch him do that. And I can't wait to see him out there back on the floor. He was missed. Mm-hmm. Like, his presence was felt. Like, on the floor, it was definitely felt. Like, man, you wish you could just turn to an Ayo Dosunmu right now. Like, just be that salve that I need for the 1, the 2, or the 3. Plus, I need to know about these certain questions that need to be answered. I still need to know about him and Josh Giddey together, because when Josh Giddey was at his peak, Ayo wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And when the Bulls were playing at their peak in that second half, Ayo wasn't out there. So I want to know how he fits in, with this new core that the Bulls have, because this is a whole different thing than from when Ayo saw it last.
Yeah.
It's a whole different situation. So I need to know where he fits in.
Yeah, and I think that's another consideration when you think about like how the Bulls ended their season. Like, they were still missing Ayo.
Yeah.
They were still missing Trey Jones. And obviously Lonzo was out. Now he's replaced by Okoro. But it's just like a lot of new pieces inserted into that lineup. And I'm curious to see, one, how they fit together, but two, how Billy decides to play them in terms of what combinations of guys, because there aren't a lot of two-way players on this roster. Ayo is one of them. There aren't a lot of like really legit shooters on this roster. Do you try to pair a Kevin Huerter with an Okoro, or do you put your best guys out there at all times and just figure it out and sort of stagger rotations to make sure you have enough shooting on the court at all times?
Yeah.
But either way, like, having those two-way players allows you to do that. And as I've said before, Ayo's one of the few on this roster that you actually feel confident about on both sides. So just another reason why I'm not like anxious to get rid of him. I think he's important in this team. But I'm also curious to see how he continues to grow as a player, because he really stepped into a leadership role last year, and obviously missing a bunch of time doesn't help that. But as this team sort of turns into the next version of itself, he's, I think, going to be a big piece in terms of locker room leadership. And I wonder how moving him would affect that too.
Yeah, great point.
All right, so let's jump into the goals that we are setting for Ayo this season.
Splash.
I picked very simple twofer, one on the offensive end, one on the defensive end, because I am hanging on to Ayo as one of the competent two-way players on this roster. AK still not a big fan of two-way players. Why? Why? So for his offensive efficiency and improvement, I basically just said, let's do catch-all. Let's do true shooting percentage. And I'm asking Ayo to hit 61% or better true shooting percentage this season, which would be a career high. But he's been in that upper 50s pretty much wheelhouse his entire NBA career. His lowest season true shooting percentage-wise was year 2 when he had that sophomore slump. That was 56.7. Mm-hmm. His best mark was year 3, 60.4. Remember, that was Ayo's 50-40-80 season.
Yes, I remember.
When his three-point attempts went up and his efficiency was just above that 40% bar, which for a Bulls team that needed more three-point volume, you loved to see. Mm-hmm. But then last year, his three-point efficiency fell pretty substantially. His three-point attempt rate went up again from his previous year's career high of 0.41 to 0.421. So Ayo got up even more threes last season than the season prior when he had that 40% mark efficiency-wise, but he shot just 32.8% last season behind the arc.
He did.
For a team whose offense is now a lot more importantly emphasizing three-point shooting, Ayo's got to get that back up. But so I didn't nitpick on the three-point shooting specifically. I just said, hey, let's take the umbrella of true shooting percentage, because I also want Ayo to be continuing efficiency finishing at the rim when he gets those transition opportunities and getting to the line as well. That was the other goal I set for him last year, was increasing his free throw attempt rate to 0.2. And he had been in the 0.14 all three of his NBA careers or NBA seasons thus far. He did not make that mark, but he did increase it to 0.176, I believe. So Ayo did get to the free throw line more last season, while his efficiency from the outside fell substantially. So I figured, okay, let's just try and get all of the Lego pieces back together for Ayo to be an efficient offensive player. True shooting percentage, a career best 61. I would be thrilled with that. And then on the defensive side, knowing that there, of course, no longer is Alex Caruso out there causing havoc. There's no healthy Lonzo Ball anymore. He's been traded. AK talks about Okoro setting that defensive identity and standard. We're not even sure if he's going to be in Billy's starting five.
Yes.
If Ayo can increase his steal percentage to 1.8, I'm not even asking for 2, because that's like you start talking about elite defensive players across the league with a steal percentage above 2.
That's true.
But Ayo's never had a steal percentage higher than 1.5. It's been 1.4 or 1.5 every year of his career thus far. I'm asking him to kick that up a notch because the Bulls need it defensively. They need him to be that good, and I think his defense kind of took a bit of a step back last season, if I'm being honest. And more steals for Ayo means more transition Ayo. And transition Ayo is one of my favorite current Bulls players.
That's very true. Again, very well said, like the last one you did. The reason I give him a pass on the 32 is because he had 87 shoulder injuries, and we didn't know that he had that many shoulder separations.
Turns out you need a functioning shoulder to have a good three-point shot.
Yeah, it's it's a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
unless
a trend.
Unless you're Sean Marion and you're shooting from down here.
It seems to be catching on with the kids. It's a thing. So I'll dismiss that, knowing that he hit 40% the previous season, as you mentioned before. But knowing he was hurt, dealing with some certain things, I'll even slightly dismiss it defensively. Slightly defend, because you can still play defense, with the shoulder hurt. But still, you want to be 100%, and there was no reason for a shoulder to be hurt like that. But I will say I'm very excited about him this season, Matt, and I like that you laid that out because I feel like those are all really achievable goals for a healthy Ayo Dosunmu, which kind of actually leads to my prove it for Ayo Dosunmu, because Ayo Dosunmu has definitely been a guy that has always been available for the Bulls. This is one of the few years where you just like, oh man, Ayo's not here. He can't help us out. He can't really do anything. One thing he's always been is consistent. And I want Ayo Dosunmu to prove that consistency pays. And I say that because it is his final year in his contract. Ayo Dosunmu has to be on the floor. Our guy, Will Perdue, has always said your best ability is availability. Him being on the floor, continuing to do what he does best, which is the offense, which is the defense, which is starting the one-man Ayo Dosunmu fast break, which is putting him on either their second best player or the player who's hot at that moment in time right then and there. Whatever you want to do, Ayo Dosunmu can do it. And he has been super consistent in that and has gotten better year after year after year on the things that the NBA and us thought, man, you need to work on that a little bit, like your three-point shooting. You need to work on that. He got better at that. I wanted him to find his own shot. Guess what? He did it with the one-man fast break. He started doing those things. Hey, Ayo, don't lay it up so much. Guess what? He quit doing that. He started trying to dunk the ball on everybody and finish it. So he is, and we wanted him to be a better leader, more vocal about that as well. Guess what? He did those things as well. So I agree with you, man. I want to see the whole pie after it's been baking and getting ready for this mini camp, for this off season, for this training camp. I'm ready to see it, come out the oven and provide some deliciousness.
I want
for
that
everybody.
Payo from Ayo.
Oh, you better have it. Applause to Matt Peck. Consistency pays.
Lobster clamp, Katie. What is this called?
Consistency
click
pays.
The T.
Oh, stop. This is your fault. This is your fault. I won't take any blame for this.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah, but it pays. And the rest of the league will be watching that and seeing how consistent he is being out there on the floor. So I'm excited to watch him this season, man. I really am, because he can get paid. Or he can get truly, truly paid if he is just consistent like he has always been on the floor, but with these new superpowers that we've seen him add to his game. So consistency pays. That's what I want him to prove.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think it's similar to what we talked about yesterday with Giddey, where it's just like you need to reach a certain level, raise that floor, and then do that consistency. The highs and lows that we've seen the last 4 years with him, and really agree with you guys about last year being sort of hard to evaluate given the injuries. But the three-point percentage going from 37.5 his rookie year to 31.2 to 40.3 to 32.8. And so for me, the prove it was to get that three-point percentage up to about 38% and to increase the volume to about 6 per 36.
6 per
So
36.
I'm not asking him to put up like career high numbers. He has had a 40 percent season from three, but that was on 4.8 3-point attempts per 36 minutes. I think if you can get up to 6, now you're a real threat in terms of volume. If you can do that at a 38% clip, now you're a real threat in terms of consistency and accuracy, and you are changing the way that the defense has to guard you. And that opens up the floor. That allows opportunities to attack closeouts, get to the rim, draw fouls, and spray the ball out to shooters. I think the Bulls need as many of those guys as possible. If Ayo can become an elite floor spacer, and I'm not asking him to be Kevin Huerter coming off of screens and pin downs and shooting off the move. I'm not asking for him to shoot 45%, but 38% on 6 threes per 36, that's a very good shooter right there. I think that will, if he's able to do that, earn him the starting spot, whether it's at the 1, 2, or 3. And so for me, it's more about that. It's about getting to a point where you're improving your game so much that it's going to be hard for Billy to take you out.
So I assume that means you are in line with Dave's thinking that last season that 32.8 mark was more so about playing and shooting with a bad shoulder. If you have the confidence that he can get that percentage back up, because as I noted, like Ayo increased his 3-point attempt rate last season. 42.1 of his total field goal attempts were threes compared to his previous career high the year prior of 41. But his efficiency fell from 40 to 33. So, like, if you want him to increase that volume of threes even more coming off of a season where it went down, are you attributing that to the shoulder and you think he can bounce back? Or is it this player has proven to be an inconsistent 3-point shooter. He had a good year coming off a bad year.
Yeah, I'm not really, like, sure. I don't want to, like, make excuses for him or, like, prescribe an answer for that. I just want him to be more consistent. So I don't really care what happened or how it's happened, but like I think for him to carve out that starting role, which I think he's more than capable of doing, he needs to get that 3-point shot to a place of consistency and volume that is commensurate with other starting guards or wings in the league. And so for me, if he's able to prove that he is a good enough shooter, and I do expect him to maintain that level of defense, he's the best 2-way player on the team, and you have to start that guy. So for me, it's more about that's what he needs to do in order to really earn and carve out a role and maintain a role as a starter, which I think he's capable of doing. He's had a 40% 3-point shooting year. I'm not even asking him to get a career high. I'm just asking him to be more consistent at a higher volume. And I think that's a huge part of his game. And, frankly, in the Bulls offense where there are more shots, where there is more opportunity, he should be able to do that.
Also, wait, real quick.
Go for it.
For him to get those attempts up like that, I think obviously will have to be some catch and shoot, because Ayo's not one to get down the floor and just create his own 3-point shot.
He'll occasionally pull up a 3 in transition.
Yeah, and we're always like,
But yeah,
but then,
those you notice those because that's not his bread and butter.
Yeah, the baseline, you know what I'm saying, on that baseline 3 that he takes.
But that is awesome. Something that he talked about working on and adding to his game. Billy and he both talked about that early last season. So if he can improve there too, I think that's definitely a pro. But to your point, it's going to be about playing off the ball, getting that volume up, and then using that volume to be able to attack the paint. I think that's another piece of it too.
Yeah, and what I was tying it to was Josh Giddey, because he's going to be the one getting him the basketball so he can hit those open threes, so upping his assist numbers. So, again, just tying everything back to who I told you was the most important person for that offense, which is Josh Giddey.
When you're talking about just the team's volume of 3-point shooting, they went from one of the lowest volume 3-point shooting teams in the final year of the DeMar era to one of the highest. That did include still having Zach LaVine around for the first half of that season.
He's going to take them, baby.
Zach LaVine took 305 threes for the Bulls last season before getting traded. He made 136 of them. That's 44.5% on a high volume. So you got to talk about replacing that, which they did. Like after Zach LaVine got traded, the Bulls were still a high volume 3-point shooting team.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about the entire season, and Goat was talking a minute ago about space for people to get shots up in this Bulls offense, particularly get threes up, I was going to be a necessary, willing 3-point shooter.
Yeah. He's always been a willing one.
Yeah,
for sure. It's just he's going to be open. Like teams have never really. I'm not going to say haven't respected his shot, but they haven't really it hasn't been on the whiteboard of something to worry about for them.
They're okay with giving him that because they're, you'd rather take away the
other
drive.
things they'd rather, take away from him. And he definitely uses it to his benefit. Like we saw the 40% from three last time. And I think that's why the attempts went up also, because he's like, they're going to keep leaving him on. Let me shoot it more. So if he gets to 6 and he's hitting it at that clip that you're talking about, you're right, man. That's going to make Billy Donovan question some things. And he loves having him out there on the floor and loves the way that he plays, as we all do. But, man, that just unlocks a whole nother level of a man named Ayo Dosunmu.
To put that into context a little bbit, like last year, 4.9 threes per 36 was 15th on the team. Now, a lot of guys played, and this includes guys that didn't play a lot of minutes, like Javon Carter, Torrey Craig, Lonzo Ball, Chris Duarte even. But like Patrick Williams, 6.2 threes per 36. Modest, 6.3 per 36. Like he's got to be, that's like good role player level of 3-point volume. If you're able to get some off the dribble, like Coby is 8.6. If you're somebody that can get him off the move, like Herter, also 8.6 per 36, but like 4.9 is like below average to me. And I think he needs to not only show that he can do it more consistently, but improve that consistency with the volume. Like it's the two things combined, because I think if he's shooting at a high level like that and getting him off at that volume, that just opens up the floor. And I just think it makes him invaluable. I don't think you can take him off the court in closing minutes or have much of a tough decision between him and Okoro and Trey Jones of who's that fifth closer or starter if he's shooting at that level and still defending and doing all the other stuff that we know he can do.
That's true.
And just to make note of that, Bulls team volume of 3-point shooting and Zach LaVine's place in that, I just looked it up now because I was curious. The Bulls were second in the NBA in 3-point attempts per game pre-All-Star break last season at like just over 43. Only the Boston Celtics took more. And the Bulls, with that second in attempts, were also 9th in efficiency at just shy of 37% as a team. Post All-Star break, a.k.a. post Zach LaVine getting traded, the Bulls fell to 8th in attempts at just 40.1, and they fell to 17th in efficiency. So for all of the fun winning and the 17 and 10 and hooray, hooray,
huzzah,
March Madness, the Giddey shot against the Lakers and all that jazz, there is a noticeable decline in the 3-point volume and efficiency of the Bulls offense after the All-Star break, after Zach LaVine left.
And that's okay if it's because you are getting to the rim more, getting
and
fouled
winning.
more, just breaking down the defense and getting more inside the paint. But you still need guys that are going to pull defenders away from the rim.
Yeah.
The only way to do that is to be real threats out there so they're worried about you. And that's where the volume and the consistency piece comes in. So I think the more consistent and high volume you have as a team shooting the 3-ball, the more it helps make those driving lanes easier for even your secondary guys. Giddey is obviously going to have a much easier time getting to the rim. Kobe's going to have a much easier time getting to the rim if they're playing next to floor spacers. But when those passes come out and there's guys closing out hard to you, now your driving lane is there and your ability to attack closeouts is there. And that's something that the Bulls have been harping on for years, not only in terms of like ability to keep the offense moving, but in terms of player development. Those guys, when they get to a point where they really know how to read those, that's where they take the next step as players. And that's where you can really see if they can add more to their game. So I think it's a big stepping stone season for a lot of these young guys, but I think you throw Ayo in that boat too. Like he's kind of been a very solid role player for this team. He's been someone that you can rely on to do a lot of different things defensively, offensively, but is there another step for him to take where maybe there is some more off the dribble stuff? Maybe there is some more shot creation stuff. I mean, people forget like before Giddey was really taking off and before Ayo got hurt, Ayo was running a lot of point. He was the one that was pushing the tempo and Giddey was playing off ball. So I think there's going to be opportunity for all of that. But for me, like the 3-point volume is so critical because that just opens up the rest of the Bulls game. And I think just by virtue of the fact that they don't really have any guys that can create off the dribble except for Coby, like you really need to get that volume up when you're talking about like catch and shoot floor spacers.
I have a question, but I want to hear Katie's prove it though.
Queen Katie,
Yes.
you prove it for Ayo Dosunmu.
Yes, I've just been keeping it simple on these, and I'm going to continue that. Mine is just speak up.
Speak up.
I would like to hear his voice. Like, we talk about him being such a great leader, but I think we don't get to hear it. because Coby is so good with the media. I just want Ayo to speak more. Not only speak up and like advocate for himself when he dislocates his shoulder 65 times in a 10-day period, but also like I want to hear him talking about the team. I want to hear what he thinks could be better, could be worse. I want to hear him after losses. I want to hear him after wins. Like, you know, we were deprived of that because of his injury last season, and that makes complete sense to me. But I just want to hear more from him that doesn't necessarily all come off of his YouTube, because I think that's been one of the really nice things about that platform is from him is like being able to hear what he thinks. And I just want to hear more of that from him because he is a leader for the team, and I want to hear it directly from him.
So you're talking about vocal leadership, like outwardly facing, front facing to the media, therefore the fans, as opposed to, or are you talking about, and also vocal leader on the floor?
Both.
It's like, you know, both? Okay.
Both.
Because we've talked about that with the departure of Caruso, and especially like on the defensive end. Like Caruso, even when he was getting his rest minutes, was calling out defensive assignments from the Bulls bench.
He sure was.
And that is a very useful thing to have. And then if you lose that thing, who takes that role? We talked about that last season. Has anyone taken that role? And maybe Ayo being a candidate to take that role, Katie. I think vocally he needs to be there on the court too.
I do want both. I do think he's vocal in the locker room. Like, I think you see his relationship with the other players, and you know, even though it's not directly said, you can tell that he does have a really good relationship with a lot of them. You see Modest on his lives and everything like that. So I do think he has a voice in the locker room, but I just want more of it. I want us to hear it too, along with his teammates.
And I think part of that comes from having those games where the media comes to talk to you after.
Yeah.
And like, that's, you know, that involves all the stuff that we're talking about in terms of consistency, in terms of shooting and scoring more efficiently, in terms of being a better defender, in terms of shooting with more volume and accuracy. Like, those boost the numbers, that boosts the opportunity for you to have big games. And that puts you in the spotlight a little bit more to where you are the one speaking up afterwards.
True. I did have a question for you, Quaff King. With Ayo shooting, say, 4.9 3-point attempts, and you called it low volume, are you speaking, when you wanted more in terms of moving it up to 6, are you speaking in terms of a starter, or are you speaking in terms of him off the bench? And I'm asking because the guys you named, like Modest and Kevin Huerter, were both, you know, starters, and I'm sure that contributed to their higher volume of 3-point
Well,
shooting.
you were going off of per 36 minutes played, right?
Right. So it is adjusted a little bit. And that's kind of the point, is like, he may not play 36 minutes a night, but he needs to be shooting basically that amount.
Got you. All right.
Last year, only 4.1 per game, which was a career high. Like, there just needs to be more volume for a guy that's playing 29, 30 minutes a game. And so, I mean, 6 is kind of an arbitrary number, but I do think it's a little bit of a cutoff in terms of which guys are really shooting a lot. Because I think in some ways, accuracy is one way to measure a good shooter, but like the guys that shoot a lot of threes, whether you make them at a 45% clip or a 35% clip, like, you're being guarded because you are a threat out there. And so I think that just changes the geometry of the floor a little bit, changes the way that defenses think about you. And then the domino effect of that having a positive result for guys like Giddey and just the space that allows for him.
Okay.
I'm very curious to see what we see from Ayo this season, and if it is, you know, going back to a healthy Ayo and everything he does for this team on both ends of the floor, and that leading to Ayo staying here on a fresh contract.
Yeah.
I guarantee you we will hear reports of teams calling the Bulls about Ayo.
All the time.
If he's out there healthy and playing, as we move through the front 2/3 of the season before that trade deadline in February, we will hear reports about that.
You can believe it.
Like, dude, just look at this Bleacher Report trade proposal. I was like, ooh, I would love Ayo on the Nuggets.
Like, the amount of mock trades that have had Ayo Dosunmu attached to him
So
this
many of
season,
them.
it's been Vooch and it's been him.
Exactly.
Like, those have been the two.
Shout out to What the Quaff, who's just been clowning in the chat for the back half of the show, saying all kinds of crazy things. No, Dave and I are not married, nor are Katie and Goat. Don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's, you know how you have, like, work spouses. We're kind of all each other's work spouses.
It's crazy because 2 weeks ago, somebody in the comments said that they thought me and Will hated each other. So I don't like. I don't know what it is.
There's a thin line between love and hate, Katie.
I know, but I think, you know, I don't know.
It's true.
People can't decide. We hate each other, just to clarify.
He also mentioned the Matador as a nickname for Modest because, of course, he's on the Bulls. So that was a good one.
The Matador.
I agree. We gotta We got to
like
get a
that.
better nickname for Modest this season.
I like that, though.
Katie, as we wrap up, follow the GOAT, Will_Gottlieb. Read us off allchgo.com. Big Dave Bobby, AWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Katie is the queen of the controls. Katie, what the hell is this poll? What the hell does this T mean?
Yeah, so I can, for those of you that don't understand, clocking the T means...
We all silly like the mayor.